And now, you are watching WCTV News live at 5.
Welcome to WCTV's Newscast. I'm Michael McKenzie.
And I'm Joe Shrillo.
A day-to-day student now, Avery Molick was once a national treasure. WCTV's Chris Barish gives us an insight on Molick's childhood fame and now college lifestyle.
If you pass Avery Molick on campus, you'd probably just assume he's another student heading to class. But Avery's story goes way beyond the routine of college life. He started drumming at just 2 years old, barely old enough to hold the sticks, and by age 6, he became a viral sensation.
Hi, my name is Avery Molick, and I am 6 years old.
That early fame led to national TV appearances, including Good Morning America and Live with Kelly and Michael. And as a kid, he performed with some huge names, from country star Brad Paisley to members of Kiss.
So probably around age 5, my parents started posting YouTube covers of me just, playing songs that I had learned. It went absolutely viral overnight. In about a couple weeks, there was Good Morning America and Kelly and Michael show calling to get me flown down to New York to be on TV.
These days, Avery enjoys being just another student.
So when I first met Avery, I had no idea that he was this famous musician. Turns out he's just the most famous person I know, and you could not tell just by how humble he is and humble and kind. Brad Paisley.
Today, Avery still plays, not in front of morning show cameras, but as the drummer for Rough Creek, a band that travels across Pennsylvania performing live shows and festivals.
We're coming up on about half a year now of me playing with them, and I think this truly is the balance I've been looking for.
Even without the spotlight, Avery's still doing what he loves most, playing. At Waynesburg University, I'm Chris Barish.
As the fall semester comes to a close, we say a bittersweet goodbye to multiple seniors in the department. Benicio DeFalco has the story.
For two senior sports announcing majors at Waynesburg University, Anthony DeFilippo and Michael McKenzie, a remarkable chapter is coming to a close. After years behind the microphone, their broadcasting careers at Waynesburg are officially nearing the finish line. And it's safe to say it has been an emotional roller coaster.
Honestly, I think before the broadcast, my emotions are going to be a lot different than after the broadcast. Before the broadcast, it's just a typical production, doing the pregame prep and everything that I typically do. But afterwards, I think that's when it's really going to hit me that I did my final Waynesburg University Sports Network production. I can remember all the way back to sophomore year, I think it was, when I finally got my first taste of soccer action on Woosen, and it was just absolutely incredible. And then last year doing a number of basketball and baseball games.
McKenzie reflected on his journey, expressing deep gratitude for the university and the countless opportunities that shaped his voice both on and off the air.
I feel like it's a lot of gratitude for all the opportunities I've gotten here at Waynesburg. I've gotten to do a number of broadcasts. Basketball is probably the most that I've done, both radio and TV. So to end it with what I've done the most, I feel is symbolic, but again, just a lot of gratitude for all the opportunities I've had here at Waynesburg.
Both broadcasters spoke about their experiences not only as student announcers, but as proud members of the Waynesburg University Sports Network. From early mornings at the radio station to late-night game coverage, they say the lessons learned here will stay with them long after graduation.
I mean, it's been awesome. It's what I came here to do, and I wasn't disappointed at all by the opportunities and the learning experiences here. You get a lot of opportunities early to grow and learn and become a better announcer, and I feel like compared to where I was at the start of my time here, I'm much better, much more developed, and I feel a lot more confident in my abilities. So again, just back to the first thing, grateful for all the opportunities and the fact that this university delivered on all of the promises from when I first started here.
Question, because I have been involved with the Waynesburg University Sports Network since day one on this campus. I worked a lot behind the scenes to start off with. Of course, that's how all the underclassmen start their journeys with Woosen. But then since I've been given opportunities with, like I said, baseball, softball, soccer, basketball, everything in between, football, I finally got to do my first game this year. That went super well. So just the opportunities that Waynesburg provides as far as the sports network goes, it's been absolutely incredible. Just all the moments with everybody on camera, but then of course at the end of each broadcast I shout out everybody behind the scenes because they do so much more work than we even do on the mic.
And whether it's been through the Waynesburg University Sports Network, the television station, the school's newspaper, the Yellow Jacket, or the campus radio station, one message remains clear. From all of us, students, staff, teammates, and listeners, thank you. Thank you for your passion, the professionalism, and the voices that brought Waynesburg sports to life. For all things WCTV, I'm Benicio DeFalco.
Happening every Monday for the month of November, the Department of Communications internship presentations. WCTV's Ethan Spazarski reports.
Over the past month at Waynesburg University, students who participated in a summer internship have been presenting their experiences not only to students, but family members as well. The internship class is led by Assistant Professor of Communication and Chair of the Communication Department, Richard Krause, and he believes that these presentations are some of the most important days of the entire school year.
I think it's really important because, number one, you're going to see great presentations. Our students do a wonderful job presenting in a professional conference kind of environment. And so when you come in and you watch them present, you're going to see a person who's professionally attired, whether it's Canva, PowerPoint, whatever kind of presentation software they're using. They'll be presenting really beautiful slides.
Students are also required to have a person, staff, or someone from outside the university to introduce the group to the waiting audience. Doug Wilson has been nominated to introduce two this semester and is just happy to see the students show growth in their presenting skills.
It is so rewarding to watch what they have learned in the public speaking classes, whether it's the class that I've taught, one that Chris Schiffbauer has taught. Watching them show what they have learned in our classes, actually applying what we teach to real life experience. That to me is as rewarding as watching them graduate in the spring and fall.
Overall, students being able to have the time to create a presentation and then have the opportunity to demonstrate what all they've been able to encounter in their time in the field is something a lot of students enjoy.
I thought the experience was great, not only as a student, but also for those that are going to be looking for an internship in the summers, in the spring. It was not only a good experience, just, evaluating what I did over the summer with the Wild Things, but also trying to help that next group of interns coming up, kind of giving them a rundown.
The fall semester presentations have concluded. However, the next batch of internship presentations will be starting in the spring semester, and they can all be found on the Waynesburg University Television's YouTube page. For WCTV Channel 14, I'm Ethan Spazarski.
The first snowfall of the season caused Waynesburg to make classes virtual on Tuesday morning. WCTV's Dean Shazer gives us a look at the students' snow day.
Winter Wonderland in Waynesburg, Pennsylvania began early Tuesday morning with a snowfall that produced 3 inches. Waynesburg University was directly affected by the weather, forcing the university to go virtual for morning classes. Roads, sidewalks, even your local businesses all have the potential to be directly affected by the weather. Even though it's not supposed to snow again until next Monday, the white blanket covering western Pennsylvania is going to prove as dominant throughout the week. With only 2 weeks of classes left for the remainder of the 2025 fall semester, a snow day was a relief for students.
It gave me time to actually catch up on some work if I had any missing work, catch up on that, giving us more time to study, and it's just overall good, and I think it's good for the whole campus community.
My whole morning was just inside the warm, staying out of this cold.
I mean, it helps not having to get up so early and run around like crazy. I can kind of just chill out.
Temperatures barely exceeding the 32 degrees freezing point throughout the week, the snow is likely here to stay. On the plus side, snow brings out everyone's inner child, including college students having snowball fights. From WCTV Channel 14, I'm Dean Shazer.
The Department of Communications Annual's Toys for Tots drive is underway on the 4th floor of Buell Hall. Anthony DeFilippo has that story.
Snow has fallen in Waynesburg. That means the Communication Department's annual Toys for Tots drive is officially underway. Every December, the department collects new toys to help local children have a better Christmas. The toy drive has become a tradition at the department's Christmas party, bringing students together for a good cause.
Not only is it a way for us to have a party, have a fun time during the holidays, but it's a way for us to give back to our community and give back to those that might not be able to have and enjoy in Christmas.
Toys for Tots does require new unwrapped toys, which can make students wonder about how much they need to spend. But Joe Cirillo says even small donations make a big difference.
It's super easy, but you can go small too. You can go for just a regular Hot Wheel. It might cost like $2 or $3. Maybe get like 2 or 3 of them, but if you can go for the big prize, go for that.
One of the easiest places for Waynesburg University students to buy toys is at the local Walmart. Here, they sell toys for under $10, which should fit the budget of any college student.
To add extra motivation, the communication department has turned the drive into a friendly competition between the print and broadcast majors.
Whoever donates more toys between print and broadcast wins that portion of the game. It's a best-of-3 scenario. You can make a little kid's Christmas that isn't privileged enough to have those toys and to get those toys for Christmas. So not only are you helping your team win in the rivalry, but you're also helping make a kid's Christmas.
And donations are already starting to stack up, and more are expected as the party gets closer.
You see it as a competition, but it's also a way for us to give back to our community, make sure others have a very Merry Christmas.
Professor Richard Krause says the goal is to buy 200 toys this year for kids in need. That will all culminate with the Dole in Buell on Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m. For WCTV Channel 14, I'm Anthony DeFilippo.
Coming up for Waynesburg students is Tuba Christmas, being held tomorrow, Friday, December 5th, from 7:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. And on Saturday, the music program presents their Christmas concert in the evening from 7:30 to 9:30. Both events are free to students and to the public. To see all of the upcoming events around campus, students can head to their MyConnect pages to find that link.
Coming up, more on the immigration crackdown happening in the U.S.
Plus, the latest updates on the peace plans between Russia and Ukraine. All that and more on the Newscast.
Welcome back to WCTV's Newscast. With Border Patrol agents expected to begin sweeps in New Orleans, some Hispanic businesses are temporarily closing their doors in fear of being targeted. Elisa Gomez has that story.
Empty chairs and tables at a time where most restaurants are getting their lunch rush.
You see the street, no car, no people, no nothing.
Jose Torres has 2 restaurants in Kenner. While this one remains open, his other is closed.
The people, miedo.
Miedo, fear, being felt in his community, from his customers to his employees. And he's not the only one.
In this area, maybe 6-7 restaurants is closed.
The Hispanic Chamber of Commerce says that they've been bracing for this. They say it doesn't just impact Hispanic businesses, but the entire state's economy.
Those businesses also need suppliers for their goods and services, products that they sell. But if they're not selling and if they're not producing, then they don't need that. So it's a revolving door, and it's at the end of the day, it impacts everyone.
For U.S. citizens, folks who've been naturalized, to have a fear just because of the color of their skin is very real.
Lindsay Navarro runs El Centro, a nonprofit that helps Hispanic and Latino businesses.
I mean, I think what people are doing are preparing as if there were a hurricane to come.
With people closing their doors, she says the city will lose much more than money.
There is a culture that's been created in this city, a welcoming culture that celebrates individuality, that celebrates other countries. And so for us to lose even a piece of that, I think it really pokes a hole in the fabric that we've worked so hard to create.
5 hours of talks between Russian President Vladimir Putin and the top United States negotiators did not yield a breakthrough on a possible Ukraine peace deal. A Kremlin aide said on Wednesday the U.S. has yet to publicly comment on the talks, and even Ukraine's President Zelensky has not weighed in on the latest efforts to reach a deal to end the 3.5-year war. So what does this signal? CNN's Nick Paulton-Walsh reports.
I think what's remarkable at this particular stage is how little indeed we know of the detail of Russian President Vladimir Putin's response to the proposal brought to him by Trump envoy Steve Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner. We know from aide Yuri Ushakov that a 28-point plan was presented with perhaps 3 or 4 other documents, that some of it was rejected, some of it was potentially to their liking. But we've heard very little elaboration from President Volodymyr Zelensky himself, who has said that his team is open to contacts, be they in person or on the phone with the American side going forwards, and hope they happen reasonably soon. His chief negotiator, Rustem Umerov, has met with European national security advisors in Brussels, presumably a bid to try and come up with a forward strategy after that Kremlin meeting. It's likely that Umerov has heard some of the results of what Witkoff heard. But what is staggering is the silence from the United States. President Trump, remarkably prolific on social media over the past days, but utterly silent on this key issue. Remember, he gave a deadline of Thanksgiving for Ukraine to agree to a peace. Instead, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, silent. Steve Witkoff, silent so far. Jared Kushner, silent as well. And a question I think really being asked is whether this reflects a new era of more intense negotiation in which all sides have agreed the constant leaks and public airing of their differences won't take them to a more productive place, or if indeed, more darkly, is it a reflection of Vladimir Putin's rejection of what Steve Witkoff had to offer, and how ultimately he said, thank you for this, but I simply need more, and that now the Europeans and the Ukrainians are urgently trying to respond to that to keep a sense of a process alive, potentially fearing that Trump might react harshly to the failure of his latest proposal. We simply don't know. There is clearly a lot of activity still occurring, a lot of desire for the Ukrainians to see yet more activity, but ultimately the decisions here have been gifted to the Kremlin. They have dictated the pace of this, the pace of the meetings, and indeed now we are still waiting to see exactly how the Washington response of this will be conveyed. A dark moment for Ukrainians who had perhaps hoped that the lead up to this might bring a ceasefire slightly closer, but instead are now left, frankly, with a bit of an abyss as to what the next steps forward are, while Russia continues to make slow, painful, yet still irrevocable progress on the front lines. Nick Payton-Walsh, CNN, Kiev, Ukraine.
Luigi Mangione was back in court Tuesday for a pretrial hearing. He's accused of fatally shooting United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in Manhattan a year ago. His attorneys are trying to get some key evidence thrown out, arguing it was obtained illegally. The multi-day hearing is revealing new details. Played in court Monday, a 911 call from a manager at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, that directly led to Mangione's arrest. In the call, the manager said some customers were concerned the alleged killer was in the restaurant. The first officer on the scene testified Tuesday, recalling the first time he saw the suspect.
Layoff announcements in the U.S. eased in November after spiking in October. Companies cut back on job cuts last month. U.S. employers announced just over 71,000 layoffs in November, according to outplacement firm, quote, Challenger Gray and Christmas. That's roughly half the amount from October, when a surge into the pink slips came from several of the nation's biggest companies. As for the November fields that saw the most job losses, including telecommunications, technology, and food, analysts say nearly 1.2 million jobs were cut so far this year. That's the highest amount recorded in a January through November stretch since 2020.
That'll do it for national news. Coming up next is Deanna Hernandez with Business and Entertainment. But first, we check in with Dean Shazer for a quick look at the weather.
32 degrees, temperatures dropping to 17 degrees overnight. Wind gusts are going to make that temperature feel around 10 degrees colder overnight. For more, listen to me, Dean Shazer, on the newscast. I'll have more for your weather.
Welcome back to the newscast. I am Deanna Hernandez with your business and entertainment update. A Tony Award-winning Stephen Sondheim musical starring a trio of Tony winners has been filmed for the big screen by the same company that put Hamilton in theaters. David Daniel has a look.
Merrily we roll along, catching a dream.
Merrily We Roll Along stars Jonathan Groff, Daniel Radcliffe, and Lindsay Mendez as friends whose relationships change over 2 decades.
At faraway shores, getting very near. We have nothing to fear. We haven't got time.
The film version was shot near the end of the show's Broadway run.
So we had 3 days worth of filming where we would film some close-up shots during the day. So there is a mix of you're seeing both live shows that we filmed 3 of at night, but they also during the day, each day we would come in and get what close-ups we could.
Frank and I are not that close, not like we used to be. And you know what? I miss it.
I've never had. The first IKEA has opened in Auckland, New Zealand. The grand opening was a big deal. The country's leader was there to cut the ribbon. Prime Minister Christopher Luxon celebrated the company's arrival as a win for New Zealand, bringing jobs along with affordable furniture options. The country is one of the last developed nations to get an IKEA. Hundreds of eager shoppers showed up early to be the first in line. The holiday shopping season is underway, and if you're looking to buy toys, the market can be confusing with all the choices and age restrictions. In today's Consumer Watch, Jen Sullivan talks to one toy expert about the most popular gifts for kids this year.
Walking down the aisle of any toy store can be overwhelming with all the choices on the shelves. So how can shoppers and Santa nail down the list?
Santa's sleigh is big, but he has to carry kid toys for all the kids, so be careful about what you ask for.
Toy expert Chris Byrne, known as the Toy Guy, says it's better to buy a few items that kids will really love, which may mean spending a little more on a single item. Byrne says Legos are always a great option. They even have some choices for kids as young as 2, like the Lego Duplo Interactive Adventure Train, which will cost you around $79.99. Byrne says interactive toys that offer various smart stages are a great option because the toy advances as the child's skills do, like the Fisher-Price Laugh and Learn 4-in-1 activity table and easel. Some retailers are selling it for $43 all the way up to $57, so compare prices.
It starts as a busy board, converts to a play table, a drawing table, and finally an easel.
Looking for something a little cuddlier? How about this? Coco the Tumbling Panda for about $55. A really popular item among kids this year is the Transformers Cyber World.
He actually converts from a transformer to a scorpion tank.
And of course, Labubu's.
Labubu is a fashion accessory. It is having a moment.
Byrne warns that shoppers should watch out for knockoffs and copycat versions.
Pop Mart is the only real source and the official licensee of that.
No matter the gift, buyers should always check the age guidelines on the toy.
That age grading is not so much about the child's development level, because every child is different, but it's also about what's safe and easy.
Byrne also recommends reading customer reviews. He also has more recommendations on his website, thetoyguy.com. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Actress Scarlett Johansson is reportedly in talks to be in the upcoming Batman sequel.
Reaction to JoJo.
Scarlett Johansson may soon be taking a trip to Gotham City. The 2-time Oscar nominee is reportedly in talks to appear in the Batman Part 2 with Robert Pattinson starring in the title role. Matt Reeves is set to direct the DC Studios film, which is expected to start shooting in early 2026. It could appear on the big screen the following fall. Some familiar titles are returning to big and small screens near you. David Daniel has that in today's Hollywood Minute.
By surviving hide and seek, you've triggered a new game. This time against the High Council families. Double or nothing. This part will be familiar. They will try to kill you.
Samara Weaving has to survive another killer game and save her sister, played by Katherine Newton, in Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. Sarah Michelle Gellar, Nestor Carbonell, and Elijah Wood co-star in the action horror sequel, which lands in theaters next spring.
Every choice, every mistake carried you to this spot.
Chad Powers will take the field again. Hulu has renewed the football comedy starring Glenn Powell for a second season.
I know what it is to risk everything you have for something that you want.
If you want to see Denzel Washington in Spike Lee's Highest to Lowest on the big screen, you've got another shot. The drama about a music mogul in a life-or-death moral dilemma returns to theaters for one night this Saturday, December 6th. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
That will do it for your business and entertainment update. I'm Deanna Hernandez. When we return on the newscast, Anthony DeFilippo has your sports.
Oh, I didn't see you there. I'm Mia Hinkins, and welcome to Buell Hall, home of Waynesburg University's Department of Communication. If you visit our campus, you'll have the opportunity to attend some comm classes, enjoy lunch with our students, and watch us in action. We hope to see you here soon at Waynesburg University.
To schedule your personal visit, go to waynesburg.edu/admissions/schedule-visit. Come grow with us at Waynesburg University.
Welcome back to Newscast Live at 7. I'm Anthony DeFilippo with your sports. Winter sports are picking up, and both basketball teams opened up President's Athletic Conference play last night. The men dropped their game to Franciscan 81-63 to kick off the action. Teams Aiden Blake and Cam Danzer led the team with 19 and 14 points. Danzer also had 6 blocks, continuing a strong start for the West Virginia Tech transfer. The women were victorious 78-59. Winning streak over to Barons to 5. With 8:44 remaining in the second quarter, the streak looked to be in jeopardy as the Yellow Jackets trailed 26-8. Then came 34 straight points for Waynesburg, including 9 from Jules Moorbacher in the third quarter. Moorbacher was also making her season debut. It's the 2017-18 season, Waynesburg has won the conference opener. Both teams are home again on Saturday against the Visit, with the kicking off at 6 p.m. Before that, tomorrow, indoor track from the Newscast University starting at 1 p.m. The wrestling program competes in Ohio Miller Invitational at 9 a.m. and the women's team competes at the same time up in Erie for the Gannon Women's Duels. Now pivoting to pro sports in Pittsburgh, it's really an incredibly mixed bag right now. We'll start with the team playing the best, the Penguins. They opened their road trip with a big 5-1 win over the cross-state rival Philadelphia Flyers on Monday. Sidney Crosby continued his career-long dominance against Philadelphia, scoring twice. Brian Rust, Tommy Novak, and former Flyer Kevin Hayes each tacked on a goal. The Penguins just got underway. Koivunen actually just gave them the 1-0 lead on the power play in Game 2 of a 3-game road trip. Now for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Another loss Sunday. And booing Renegade for what seems like the first time ever. Pittsburgh sits outside the playoff picture with a huge AFC North game coming up against the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. Kickoff is at 1 p.m. on Sunday. So for sports, I'm Anthony DeFilippo. Dean Shaver has your weather up next on the newscast at 7.
Welcome back to the newscast. Live at 7 today. It's a high of 36, 37 degrees today, and it kind of dipping down with the wind temperatures. Going to feel about 15 degrees today. That's going to be what it's looking like over the weekend. You're going to see some mid-30 degrees. You're probably going to see sparkles on Sunday with a little bit of snowflakes. Who knows what's going to happen? Weather's always all over the place. They also predict snow on Wednesday. I'd rather be where the palm trees are with this snow, with this forecast upcoming. And Divas, get your coats out because it's going to be cold, especially Tuesday into Wednesday. You're going to see some of the coolest temperatures that you've seen throughout the year, the late part of the year, actually. It's going to dip down to about 15 degrees. Who knows where that wind chill is going to take you. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. Over the week, it's going to hit mid-30s and dip very cold overnight with, as I mentioned, some flurries on Sunday and a possible shower of a potential blizzard on Wednesday. And that's all for weather. I'm sending it back to the fellas at the desk.
That will do it for the Newscast Live at 5. For everyone behind the scenes and in front of the camera, thank you for watching.
And stay tuned on our WCTV YouTube page and social media platforms for more Waynesburg content. And right before we go out, we would like to thank Anthony DeFilippo and Michael McKenzie for all of their hard work here on WCTV, especially with Michael McKenzie being the newscast producer over the past 2 years. Thank you, gentlemen, for all the work you have done.
Thank you. We always appreciate the love. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you very much for tuning in here on the Newscast live at 7.
This has been a production of Waynesburg Community Television.